from the Yarn Closet in Tucson, Arizona. This is Laura and Chip. Magnus is over here too. Yeah, good boy. It's Monday, Maker's Monday. I am going to attempt to have Maker's Monday, Watch Wednesday, and Fridays with Friends. Okay, don't do that while I'm podcasting. You're so noisy when you lick your feet. Just stop. Just stop. Okay. I want to say that that is dirt that I have just scratched off the bottom of your foot, but I'm not entirely sure. Well, could be rabbit poop. We do have grass growing in the backyard. We have had some rain in the last couple of weeks. Possibly more. Okay, stop. Stop. Thanks, Magnus. Stop. I'm Yarn Closet AZ on Instagram and the Yarn Closet blog over on Patreon. You can follow for free. You can get free downloads of crochet, knitting, loom knitting patterns. And I follow a lot of people for free, and it's kind of fun. There are some great makers that you can follow for $1 a month. I know everyone's talking about support the indie people, and not everyone can. Talking about your favorite indie dyers and indie producers, or maybe you can afford $1 a month. I mean, that's worth something. Dawn Landix is a pattern designer, and she's put up all of her patterns for free. Part of the reason she's done that is to be supportive of our community, but also as a thank you for the support she's received since her husband died in January of the regular flu. And she's been left at home with 4 kids. So she's not going to be the only one by the time this is all said and done. We are in the midst of the 2020 coronavirus quarantine in the United States, whatever you want to call it. And we're all trying to find ways to connect. I agree with the fact that we should maybe, social distancing is an interesting term. I think the necessity is for physical distancing. As scared as we are, it's okay to walk outside and to be 10 feet away from your neighbor and say hello and have a conversation. If that's going to keep your anxiety at bay, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Stop, Magnus, stop. But I'm not a medical professional, so don't listen to me. I'm just a yarn enthusiast, mom at home with her kids, and someone also going stir crazy. I mean, I made it a week with my kids. What I have noticed is that they are being somewhat more obedient. They are eating foods that they used to complain about because they understand that there are shortages and you get what you get. One of the most challenging people I'm dealing with right now is one of my parents who doesn't quite get his vulnerability and what's going on. You can say hi.
Hello.
Okay, go. So today I am going to try a Zoom virtual knit at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I have not purchased the big package. If there's more than 3 people, we'll be cut off after 40 minutes. But if there are more than 3 people and there's an interest in that time slot, I will try to keep it going in that format. Otherwise, if there's no interest, then next week I'm going to try a live on Instagram. If there's not a lot of interest there, I'm just going to let it go. I understand that, everybody's going to find their niche, and this might not be mine because they're just might not be involvement. But if there is, I'll do my best to keep things going for everybody. And thank you for doing this for me. So here today is the, I thought I had this pretty low. Okay. There we go. Okay, you got the meeting ID, personal meeting ID, like this is my first time hosting, whatever. There you go. Hopefully you can figure it out. The meeting ID is 714-455-9669. It's 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm also going to check out a virtual sit and stitch on Friday from Sun Dragon Art and Fiber. Their meeting ID is 304-975-8631. That will be at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And that one's on Fridays. If you didn't know, there's an app called Libby, Libby, that you can download on iOS or Android, okay? And that is part of the National Library hoo-ha. Many places, if you put in your library code information, if you have an out-of-date library card, some places are letting you use it. They've activated everything. Other places like Pima County, where I'm from, has set it up so that, how am I going to do this? Set it up so that temporarily you can put in your phone number and get a virtual library card to use throughout the crisis. So I'm going in and I'm putting holds and I'm getting some audiobooks. You can get kids, you can get grown-ups, whatever. And that's a nice free resource. And yes, Audible has also got a page set up that you can have free kids books, which is nice. What else? Creative Kind is a craft store here in Tucson. And if you go on their website, you can find out that they are having virtual knitting, or not knitting, virtual craft classes. I joined one the other day, and the format wasn't great for me, so I left it. It's on Zoom. And then afterwards, you get the recording, so you can go back and view the recording. You need to not do that right here and right now. Thank you. No.
I need to show them this.
You don't.
I do.
Then show them and have one little saying. Talk about it. You can't just show them. You got to talk about it.
This is a unicorn, and you see it has a mane. It has to be a rainbow mane. It has a
Tail.
That's furry. You have to color it rainbow too. See the moon?
Yeah.
You have to color it moon color. See the cloud? You can just leave it white because clouds are white.
Very smart of you. Now, will you please excuse yourself?
No, I've just explained this.
Okay, we are. Hey, thank
See
you.
the horn? And the ears and the stars. If you color just starts yellow. I'm all done.
Thank you. So, Creative Kind, you can go on their website and you can get into their virtual classes. And that was pretty fun. I had an embroidery kit. And so that helped get a little bit of information for me. Go now, please.
Dad, Mom, I need to tell you where Dad is. Where is Dad?
Dad is out playing disc golf with his brother.
What? How did he just leave?
He did. He just left. He said goodbye to you, but you didn't talk to him.
I forgot.
Okay, go. He'll be back really fast. It's just the two of them. Go now before there's a consequence. So those are my little tidbits for things that may help you through our quarantine. Because let me tell you, I am stinking proud that I made it through week 1 and a little concerned that there may end up being like 16 weeks of this. That's it. No more today.
It's not a candy, it's a long cough drop.
Yeah, there's still candy because you're not coughing.
I know.
I know.
So long.
Yes, make sure that that stick and that wrapper ends up in the trash. Okay? Hey? Thank you.
You said this stick, and this wrapper?
Yes, when you're done. Yes, the wrapper now and the stick later when you're done. So I'm going to go through some of the stuff that I'm working on and just have a little chat about that. Some finished objects, some works in progress. Look, have you seen there's a Stitch Lounge? Oh, darn it. There's a pattern called the Smitten Mitten. I have now made a set of mittens. And the reason that this is a free pattern download, the reason that I picked this one is it's been a long time since I've done a gusset for like a sock or whatever, and I had some problems. But this was a mitten with a gusset, and yeah, this one fits better. Yeah, that's a bit of a hole right there. It's just slightly bigger. This is something, okay, you can tell that your mitten is not fitting if this isn't actually seated down here, and so this thumb needs to be longer. I thought I got it long enough, so I'm going to undo this and make it longer so that this fits better, because otherwise it fits pretty decent. And I may send those off to a friend, or just put them in the donate pile for some kids. I don't know, because I know some people are sketchy about getting packages these days. I also have been trying to figure out this slip stitch colorwork business. I can honestly say, so I just did this and I tried to follow some instructions on some different free patterns that I saw. And doing it in different ways gives you different effects. Like there's a stripey effect, there's this effect, I like this effect. I like how this red, white, and blue and a little bit of orange and whatever color is not my favorite, but I like how it really does tone down those yarns that you think you're going to love but turn out to be a little bit crazy. But here, I haven't tried this on yet. Ooh, look, I look like that goofy redheaded guy. You know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, you know, the things that you don't intend to make and then they turn out halfway decent and you're like, huh, that's interesting. Let's see if this works this way. I've never been much of a headband person because I think that it emphasizes like my forehead or something. I don't know. Yeah, and I'm touching my face, but people, I haven't left the house. And I'll wash my hands after this. I've only been touching the dogs. I don't know. Is that a good look for me or not a good look for me? What does that do? It's interesting. Will it give me a headache over time? I don't know. It actually fits. Some of the other ones I've tried to make didn't actually fit, so that's funny and interesting. But I was planning on putting that in the donate pile. Then I went through my 60 Quick Knits book and found a pattern for short socks with a gusset. So I was gonna do that. This one calls for just a superwash wool, but if these knit up as fast as those mittens did, I want something that will be a little bit more longer wearing because, you know, I'm in socks all the time and on tile, and I just need these things to last because nothing seems to last here. And I have started hand washing and just laying flat to dry, but it's crazy. Okay, so here we go. Based on the fact that my yarn was just a little bit less dense, a lighter 3 than the 3 in the pattern, I started with a 3 needle. Okay, the pattern calls for a 3.5 or a 3.75. And I really like this fabric, okay? Love this fabric. Because that's, in my opinion, from everything I've learned and been told, that's the kind of density you're looking for in like a slipper sock that you're gonna wear without shoes and around the house. Okay, but I wasn't meeting gauge. So then I went up to a 3.5 and I thought, well, maybe that's possible, but I still wasn't meeting gauge. So then I went up to a 4, and this is what meets gauge, but look at that fabric. It's just ridiculous. What I might do is use this yarn and the 4 with a lycra thread. However, I've tried that on socks. The socks I'm wearing right now have a lycra thread in them. You can't really tell. But it doesn't seem to help that much. So I do have some lycra. I may do a lycra thread with that to help with the density and see what that does. So maybe there's another swatch in my future today. Because one of the other crazy things that I have found out in the time of quarantine is, get this, I might start following patterns. The process of trying to follow the pattern, and this, the thing I like about this book is it's actually printed a slightly bigger in some areas, not all, but some of the patterns, and like the diagrams and stuff are pretty simple, and the spacing on the page is also spaced nicely because when you use magnifiers, if the columns are too condensed, if there's not spaces between kind of the paragraphs, it can make the magnification more challenging also. So I am finding that there is a little bit more motivation in kind of getting through the pattern, getting to the next chunk, and that's kind of speeding me along. So I'm either gonna because I only have a limited amount of yarn. And I just don't know that adding the lycra would really help at this 4 rate. So I do like this fabric. I may just, because I did the math and I figured out that at the gauge I'm getting, at the fabric that I like, if I just picked the stitch count for the next size up, I should still get the right size for me. To fit me. So that's going to hopefully be something that I jump into today. And a reminder, that is a book from the library. So your libraries are a resource, and Libby can help you get to them online. Some libraries, you know, have a lot of different things that you can access online. There are many resources that are coming available to people, and I think that's quite nice. I'm trying not to make this too terribly long this morning, but to give some motivation. I have tried some square needles. these Novas, they're so lightweight, but they feel almost plasticky. I just don't know how I feel about them. Would you want something that I've tried in a prize? Do you still want gifts sent out quarterly? I mean, some people don't want to receive packages, and some people are living at receiving packages. I'm loving that Amazon is still functioning because it's helping me get supplies to my dad. I'm loving that I've got pharmacy delivery. And yes, my husband is the most vulnerable in our household, and yes, he did just go out to go disc golfing with his brother. However, the point is, they both show up at a park. They're not closer than 6 feet. You know, they're staying 6 feet apart from each other. They're not touching each other's stuff. And they're men. Men are going more stir crazy, in my opinion, than the women, especially the women who have had more of an experience at being home or being around the kids longer. You know, there is no perfect. So anyway, I'm not totally in love with the Novas because they feel so lightweight. No, that is not nice. Do you want me to do that to you? Okay, you need to go and play in your room for just a few more minutes. When I am done, I will come get you.
I need to show you something.
You're not going to do that. Thank you. Please. Let's be obedient. I also got the Try It needle set from Knit Picks. It comes with one of their metal needles. I thought this was going to be the square one, but it was just the round one. And then a wooden square needle. And like I said, you hold these differently, so you hold them kind of lighter. It's not affecting my gauge. These are slippy wooden needles. I do occasionally sand them just a smidge, at least in this area, so that I feel like they're a little bit grippier. But you just hold them slightly differently. It's easier to hold them. You know, you've got those points to kind of rest on, and my grip is just much lighter, so I'm not getting quite the same hand issues and tension all the way up through my arms and into my neck, which I tend to get. This is my Willard that I'm doing in a sport weight yarn, not a worsted, and I'm not doing the big turtleneck. Because the Willard has some garter ridges, what I did for the neckline was just a couple rows of stockinette and then 2 garter bumps and right into the top down raglan. I'm very close to separating from my sleeves. I'm really, really hoping that I got that calculation correct. And I like the fabric. I like the weight of this. You know, it might be a little see-through-y. I just have to keep going. So hopefully by Wednesday or Friday of this week, you'll get a chance to see that after the sleeves, split for the sleeves. I had to take a break, more of an emotional break. I'm also quite happy to see how the yarn is lasting because I have 2 skeins of this. This is Stranded Dye Works. I got it last year at the birthday sale in November. Favorite ice cream? Her favorite ice cream must be some kind of mint. So I have this much left of the first, actually not quite. I've got actually more of this left because I pulled off about 20 grams because I was going to do a different pattern and you needed to kind of split your skeins. So it's going to be really interesting. What I'm hoping to do is split from my sleeves, do a small chunk in a complementary green, like stripe, like a small stripe, and then start the second skein. And I'm hoping to have enough left over from the first skein to do short sleeves at least, or to start my sleeve and then continue with maybe the darker color. If I want to go long sleeves, I'm thinking short sleeves or elbow length sleeves because, you know, I live in Tucson. But it's going really, really well, and I am enjoying the pattern, the way it's written by Alicia Plummer, a couple little tricks that I have learned, and somehow this time is motivating me to be a little bit more of a pattern follower. Possibly because of the stress of all this and my brain not functioning real well with all that stress. So here is my cardigan with Mrs. Crosby Loves to Play. It was a craftsy yarn that I'd been holding on to for a while in squid ink, which is this lovely gray that has these bits of purple and some blue and some green, and it's a bit shinier in, I think, real life, but this is the same Free Lion brand cropped cardigan. I made one for my mom, and now I'm doing it with a garter stitch instead of 2x2 rib. And instead of leaving the yarn over increases, I am knitting through the back loop to close them out, which is a trick I just learned and something I absolutely love. So this is becoming like my go-to increase. Isn't that lovely? And I haven't done a lot of work on that either. Just cause I've been doing homeschooling with kids and trying to get them outside as much as possible. We are really in the midst of spring allergies right now. I mean, so bad, so bad. And so that makes it hard to be outside because we're all three of us, me and the two kids, really hit hard by those, having different reactions. Also, I'm trying to balance this homeschooling business because I think we all need to give the kids a break, you know, cut them some slack. They're not as good as we are at being able to vent or voice their stress. And you know, Prue's turning 5 next month. It just, you gotta cut these kids some slack. And then my 12-year-old has Asperger's, so his level of communication in regard to this is a little questionable at times. He has a hard time communicating about his emotions. Yes, people with autism feel emotions. I believe that they feel them in some ways more than we do. I think that his physical falling down and scraping himself, it's far more traumatic for him. I think that sometimes the deal is that they learn ways to mitigate the emotion as a self-protection. My son needs plenty of time by himself after any kind of long-term engagement just to kind of let the emotion flow. You know, it's very stressful. It's stressful to watch him try to even play with his sister for a couple of hours. And he has just gone way above in trying to entertain her because he's concerned about how she's going to take this, because we have talked as a family about my husband's illness and his susceptibility to this coronavirus, and my poor kid is just heartbroken at the thought of losing another dad. You know, divorce, and then to lose the stepdad that he adores. And it's hard to live under those kind of stresses. And I think a lot of people understand that now, because I am not the only person that lives with somebody who's more susceptible to this. And it's one reason why I wish that people would stay home and take things more seriously. You know, get the grocery delivery and let them just drop it off at the sidewalk, and then you go get it, and then you wash your hands, and you wipe down packages, and, you know, whatever. But stay at home. And if you are a man that needs to get out because you're going stir crazy, go to the park, go for a walk, you know. But if some kind of group is starting to congregate, try to stay away from it, you know, try to leave. I think before this is all said and done, we're all going to feel the effects of this, and I just hope that it is something that we can all start to understand. This is going to affect everybody. How are we not going to know people? You know? And I don't want to have a list of people that I know that have been affected by corona. I don't. I don't want to have to figure out what it's going to mean to try to have a funeral in this day and age. Because people, that has already gone through my mind. So let's try to keep doing the things that give us peace, and reach out to each other in whatever way possible. I love sharing my projects and the little hurdles that I go through in my knitting life. I do really want to know if you still are interested in getting gifts next month. I think I can figure that out. So let me know. Let me know if it's tacky to put a square needle in a gift that I've already tried and I'm not over the moon about. Get used to making phone calls again. It's nice to hear someone's voice. Texting is great and easy, but it's nice to hear someone's voice. Look with your heart first, and I hope to see some of you later today at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time on the Zoom meeting 714-455-9669.